Hello, Seiiti Arata. If you live in a hurry, if your life weighs on you emotionally, if you're full of anxiety, and if you don't have time to do what really matters, I invite you to learn more about essentialism. Today we will discover together what is really important in your life, and from that discovery on, we're going to remove what is unnecessary, and we're going to do the essential things with better quality. A good metaphor to explain this proposal for essentialism is to look at the creation process of a good film. Once the storyline is written, the director films all the scenes from that script, and sometimes several times, and in the end, everything that has been filmed goes through an editing process. The editing helps the filmmaker to remove everything that is not essential to tell the story. Unimportant details, unnecessary dialogues, characters that don't help in the development of the story. All of that is edited to keep only the things that matter in the film. Do you understand how you are going to use this analogy in your life? So imagine now how you can do the same editing process in your own life. Imagine if you could edit all your obligations, all your bad habits, all your worries, and only keep what is essential in your life. Imagine reducing the amount of unnecessary meetings, boring people, unsolicited emails, messages, even wishes or ambitions that make you feel anxious. And the good news is that you can actually edit your life, as long as you have a good level of self-knowledge and you plan well for your life editing. Editing your life means focusing only on what is essential, leaving aside everything else. If you're feeling overwhelmed with the amount of tasks that you have to do, it probably means that your life needs editing. Over the years, you have accumulated obligations, commitments, and even goals you created for yourself. Those tasks started building up and you have reached the point in which you simply cannot handle everything anymore. And when that happens, you need to edit your life. You need to cut out all the things that are not essential and focus on what really matters. In order to do that, the first step should be to be very clear about what are the most important things that you value most in your life. In episode 122 of the series, Hello, Seiiti Arata, I explained why writing your greatest personal values in order of importance is one of the most effective psychological strategies among all the other strategies studied by science. When you know which areas you value most in your life, defining what is essential and what is not becomes a much easier task. For example, let's imagine that your 3 top personal values are family, health, and education. In theory, you should devote most of your time and energy to cultivate all these 3 values. But if we take a look at your schedule, we see that you're spending most of your time working on social media or going out to restaurants, watching TV shows. Well, what does it mean? Notice that there is nothing wrong with these activities in themselves, but there is a major difference between what you theoretically say that you value and what you actually do in your real life. Following this example, if you really value family and health and education, you need to edit, you need to remove your commitments to other tasks in order to have time to do activities related to your family, to do physical exercise or take courses and read books. In that case, the first step you need to take if you want to edit your life is to discover what is actually essential to you and be clear about what your personal values are. Put all of your activities on paper and get ready to delete everything that is not essential. When you edit your life and you focus on what really matters, what you're doing is to follow a way of thinking popularly known as essentialism. Essentialism can be understood in a very simplified way in just 2 steps. First, you need to identify the things that are really important in your life, and second, you need to do less, but do better. And after you have identified your most important personal values, take a piece of paper and start listing all the activities that you're currently engaged in. Start with the obvious ones, your commitments to work, family, home. But go beyond that. Think about the things you do every day and that take time of your life. Traffic and social media and instant message groups, or movies or parties and hobbies and courses, sports, news websites, TV shows and travel. You don't need to use a lot of criteria for that. Just write it down on paper, everything that you do. Also include in the list everything that takes up your energy, your time, your thoughts throughout the day. You can even edit the ambitions that you currently have that are not really worth your time. So write down the desires that you cultivate as well. Evaluate them. Are these wishes giving you more worries than rewards after all? And when you're done, take a look at that list. If you have been feeling overwhelmed, identify which of the listed activities are causing you to have that feeling of distress. The best way of getting rid of that feeling is by editing everything that is not essential out of your life. And in order to do that, write on the top of the list all the personal values that you identified before, and then start crossing off all the activities that are not aligned with your most important personal values. Instead of focusing on what you're losing, try to pay attention to what you're gaining by making your life lighter. In order to remove the non-essential activities, you need to learn how to say no. If you don't set limits, your tasks will dominate your life. And removing commitments and hobbies and obligations and even some people from your life is not an easy task. Psychologically speaking, we feel compelled to do several things that we actually don't really want to do. Sometimes we even create responsibilities for ourselves and we don't even know why. In the search for the essential things in life, you have to learn how to say no to everything that is not really important. Of course, we would all love to do more, to please other people, or to have more time for ourselves, our co-workers, our childhood friends, our family, and all the people who deserve our attention. But doing it all at the same time, it is impossible. When we try to hug the world, we end up jumping from task to task without doing our best, causing tiredness to ourselves and sometimes even displeasing others. Saying no is an attitude of respect not only towards yourself, but also to others. Instead of saying yes to everything, try to do less things, but do them better than before. Take control of your choices. Select only a few activities to focus on and give your best to conclude those tasks with great quality. Remember as well to leave some time between all these tasks. Are you able to do it all? Can you go to work, to the gym, to a club, to church, to family events, and at the same time be active on your social media accounts, cook healthy meals, and walk the dogs, and do volunteer work, and meditate every day, and read a book a week? Well, yes, you can, but at what cost are you trying to do all of that? Do you feel okay by running back and forth trying to handle it all? If you don't set some limits, your tasks will end up tearing you apart. The amount of commitments that pile up over time will rule your life to the point you might have a total breakdown. Before that happens, edit your life. Find what is essential alongside your personal values and discard anything that is not really important. Your mental health will be very grateful. Getting to know your personal values is the first step to edit your life. Only when you understand the things that you value most in life, you will be able to remove less important activities and focus on what really is essential to you. And this is also why the correct definition of your personal values is the first point in any good life planning. And if you want a step-by-step guide on how to effectively define your personal values, and from that point on, put together a complete life plan, I invite you to watch a special class from Personal Values from the Planning Your Life course. You can watch a class right now by accessing arata.se/your values.